Okay, everybody, welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for coming. We just had two really good extremity demos back to back, so a couple people got to see that. Sorry for you guys who didn't get to make it, but this one is head and neck immobilization for SRS. I like to start every session with a joke, and sorry if you already heard this one, but this is a recycled joke. I didn't get a chance to look up a new one. So, what do you call a magic dog? No one? A labracadabra. But you'll see the dog theme coming through our presentation a little bit more. So, like I said, head and neck immobilization for SRS. Here's the team that's going to be walking you through this hands-on demo. This is a hands-on demo, so if you are not trying to make any masks, it might be time to leave now because we're going to be getting up in a little bit and making all kinds of masks and showing you some products that maybe you haven't seen before. So I'll start with introducing the team a little more in depth. My name's Justin. I've been a therapist for more than 10 years. And I like to tell kind of everybody's story of where they've been and where they've worked. So you can see like, oh, I've worked with these people or over there. So we'll tell you all of our stories and how we kind of ended up at Orfit as well. So I started at the University of Florida Proton Therapy Institute in Jacksonville. Anybody from Florida in the house? One. All right, all right, all right. And then, yeah, I was a radiation therapist straight out of school. I'm actually from Nashville. I went to Vanderbilt and then went to University of Florida. I was fortunate enough to get my first job in a proton center, so I got really lucky. Then after I left Florida, a bunch of people that worked there, we left to go to Dallas to start the Proton Center in Dallas, the Texas Center for Proton Therapy. So I was fortunate enough to open that one from the ground up as a lead therapist. So I got a lot of really good experience opening a brand new center. And then I went back to Nashville and opened the Provision Cares Proton Therapy Center in Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. So I got to be the manager, so I got to have a little bit different of a perspective opening a center from a lead therapist and a manager part, and the stress definitely came along with that one. So then I got fortunate enough during COVID, Orfit offered me the job as a product specialist, and it's the best job in the world, so I'm very happy to be with Orfit. Yeah, and then last but not least, this is my cute dog, Reggie. So he is a little over 2 years old. He weighs 90 pounds, and he is a full-blooded yellow lab. So give it up for Reggie. Give it up for Reggie. Yeah, 90 pounds. So next I'm going to introduce Ray Herrick. He's over in the corner over there. So Ray has actually more than 20 years of radiation therapy experience along with CT and MRI. So he's a very dynamic individual. So Ray started his career as a specialist in the U.S. Army. Thank you for your service, Ray. We appreciate that. And then he went as a radiation therapist to Northside Medical in New York. Then from there, he went to be a chief therapist at Memorial Sloan Kettering. So we really like Memorial Sloan Kettering, and we have a few employees that work there. So we do a lot of picking from Memorial Sloan Kettering as well. And then Orfit was fortunate enough to have Ray join 10 years ago, so we're really happy. Actually, that's not accurate. Ray he graduated from product specialist to sales. He's a regional sales manager now for the Midwest. Yep. And then last but not least, Ray's beautiful pup, Andy. Introduce Andy. Andy is a Labradoodle, Golden Doodle. Next, I'm going to introduce Scott. Scott also has more than 10 years of radiation therapy experience. So here's another theme here. I actually hired Scott at the Texas Center for Proton Therapy at Dallas. You're welcome, Scott. And then Scott actually is a professional baseball player. So Scott went to teach baseball. He left therapy for a little bit. Yeah, he did that for a little bit and then got tired of that. Came on out to Cali, so he lives in San Diego. So he used to work as a radiation therapist a lead radiation therapist for the California Protons. Any Californians in the house? One, back there. Where are you from? Bakersfield. North? Yeah, nice, very cool. And then I got Scott another job at Orfit, so we hired him again. And yeah, we love Scott. We're happy to have him. He's an asset as well. And then don't forget Scott's beautiful pup, Kai. That one is Trouble. He showed me Kai has the zoomies quite a bit, so it's a handful. Joe's from New York. You got a couple genuine New Yorkers on the team. So Joe went to Manhattan College for radiation therapy. And we just found out that Bill, back here, our moderator, knows Joe's program director from 1992. Yeah, so like I said, it's a small world, and I love to make those connections because you never know who you're going to know and who you worked with. So, and then Joe got picked up by Mount Sinai right out of school and stayed there for 7 years. Great experience there. They're one of our customers, so that's why we're able to get Joe, because he's a big asset for us. So he started with Orfit 6 months ago. Right after he started, we shipped him to Belgium to get all of his training done. Yep, make him a whole man. And then he came back to us and then came out to his first Astro. So, and last but not least, he doesn't have a puppy, but we have Pierogi here. So Pierogi is a rescue too. So if you notice his clipped ear, what they do in New York is they fix them and then they clip their ear and send them back out. So they don't, if they catch them again, they don't try to fix them again because you have to do like some sort of surgery, right? So Pierogi's a little cutie and we love him. All right. Yeah. He looks so proud of it. He looks so proud of it. All right, well, this is our team and our furry friends. We always like to have a little fun. This workshop's very laid back. So for this workshop, we're going to compare the masks and recognize the basic process to adapt the systems to treatment that needs using the SRS fixed solution. We're going to discuss how to achieve better reproducibility using our custom ThermoFit and our Nanor masks in conjunction with a bite fix. So it's like a 3-piece system. So you want to cover all your bases, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. And then learn how to mold Nanor masks to complement the ThermoFit shell to create a more robust immobilization for your SRS solutions. So I'm going to ask, how many people in here already do SRS? Everybody, right? Everybody does it. So what makes a treatment SRS? Like, what makes it different than a regular treatment?
Dose.
The dose?
Size.
Fractionation.
It's interesting because I've been to a lot of lectures about LANRT and things, and they're starting to talk about not really immobilization so much as monitoring.
Surface guidance, right?
Surface guided, but I still want to immobilize.
Yeah. We're never going to let go of that. Yeah, we actually have a customer in the Colorado area that does head and neck patients because they use a bunch of they use Vision RT, so they have just a chin strap mask and nothing else. We're a whole head and neck patient. They swear by it and they use it, and there a lot of more people are starting to adapt that. So that's a good observation. And I was trying to rack my brain, like what is different, and I came up with a few things. So charges is a big thing because as a manager, you really have to like pay attention to the charges, make sure you capture the right charges. So 1 to 5 fractions, all those things, and special treatment machines, you know, like a cyber knife or a gamma knife or something like that's usually involved, and surface guidance stuff as well. And then, yeah, complicated immobilization equipment. I harp on this a lot because I'm spent a lot of time in sim, and I've seen a lot of people overthink a bunch of setups and try to throw everything at it. And I'm more of like, keep it simple. The more variables that you introduce into the sim, the more mistakes that can get made on the treatment side. So we try to keep it simple, ease of use, talk about that stuff. So we'll keep harping on those as we go through the presentation. So again, what is SRS? So high dose per fraction, so it's usually a little more risky. And precision is paramount when you're talking about these high doses because you don't want to miss the target and hit the wrong thing. Like I said before, don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it. You know, sometimes you get a physicist in there who's just really trying to use all the toys, right? We get new toys and they're like, we want to use them all. And I'm like, well, you don't have to use everything on every patient. You know, don't overthink it. And it can be used for non-cancerous cases. So I went to school at Vanderbilt and we did a lot of like AVMs. We did a lot of different weird radiosurgeries for non-cancerous cases too. And when we're in the extremities, someone brought it up for osteoarthritis. Have you guys ever heard of getting radiation treatment for osteoarthritis? So that was something that we really talked about in the extremities one, and that I've never heard of that. But apparently they're doing 6 to 7 fractions and really giving people like good pain management for that. And I've never heard that. They're talking about doing hips. Were you the one of the people that? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so what type of mobilization are we talking about? Like, what do we need? Usually it's robust enough for high levels of accuracy because of the risks involved. Comfortable enough for long treatment sessions. Some of these really crazy ones with all the arcs and stuff, we did some in Vanderbilt that took like well over an hour on the brain lab machine. So you don't want your patient moving during that time. So you got to bring in accuracy and comfort. Really pay attention to those things, and extra devices such as like surface guidance and stuff like that can be used as well. So we want to stay away from this right here. So what do you end up with when you start overthinking it? You end up with something like this. So remember these knife ones when you had to screw the fixators into the people's heads? I've actually never seen one in real life just because I never had to do that, but that's pretty bad for the patient, pretty invasive. So this is kind of what we're trying to achieve here. Something simple, something comfortable, something they can be in for maybe up to an hour. Some of these treatments take a really, really long time. Yeah, so like I said, keep it simple, keep it comfortable. Yeah, don't overthink it. So components of our SRS system. So what are the components? What makes it what it is? So the first component that we talk about is Orfit. So this is a piece of thermoplastic that's kind of in a mold care covering. So it's customized to the patient. It's a little different than mold care where it's a little more rigid and it supports a little better. You can activate it in an oven or a water bath, either one. And yeah, it kind of makes a shell around the back of the patient's head. So this is kind of what ties everything together and makes it SRS. And then of course our masks, so we have multiple different masks. We have our own proprietary mask material, so we are really proud of it. We think it's one of the most superior ones on the market. Offers a tight, stable, and comfortable fit. So it's kind of like a net, and if you notice, it's frameless, not like some of the other S-type or U-frame masks. So that really offers you a lot of advantages on stretching, hair management, and we'll talk about that a little bit when we get hands-on. So the third piece, the triple threat here, is the bite fix too. And when we were working in protons, every single patient that we did got some sort of bite block. And the theory of it is if the bite block is you're biting down on it and it's attached to the mask, it really cleans up all the pitch, roll, and rotation inside of the mask. So I think it's very important to use bite fixes and any kind of bite blocks as well. So some more benefits of the SRS fix. Ease of use for therapists. So like I said, really big on this. I've said it a million times. Don't overcomplicate it. Therapists don't want all these different things, and the more variables you introduce, the more mistakes can happen. Maximum comfort for patients, big key. Easy, fast, and trouble-free mask making. So our masks are really easy to make, very forgiving. We can adjust them sometimes after they've been made for weeks, and we'll show you kind of how we do that when we go hands-on. And the high technology thermoplastic material is very important too. It's always wanting to go back flat, back to its original size. You can adjust them on the fly, and we'll talk more about that once we get hands-on as well. And it's a system based on existing hardware. So you don't have to, like a lot of people have, we treat these patients, we treat our brain patients and our head and neck patients on this board, but we do our SRS on this board. So we wanted to be easier so you don't have to buy all new hardware. You can just buy the ThermoFit and the mask and the bite piece to go with your existing system. So you don't have to get all these different parts. You can just use everything on one system. And we'll talk a little bit more about what this system is. It's our all-in-one system if you've never heard of it. We'll talk about that a little later, and I'll explain like how it's used and everything. So that is it. But thank you guys for that. And we're going to start bringing some people up. So Ray's going to walk us through it, and we can make some together as well. So this is the larger size. We have small, medium, and large. And the large size comes with these Velcro pieces because it's a lot of material to keep holding the whole time it sets up, which takes about 10 minutes to set up.
So basically, there's small holes where the ears are. So you want to put it
We're adjusting the cushion.
So you put it in a certain location. You build it
It's
up.
actually back there, so that's fine.
Patient needs to hold still. How noisy is that for you? Is it like if you're a sensitive patient, that Velcro, is that annoying or?
Is Velcro a trigger?
Scott,
What?
is that Velcro loud on your ears? I've never,
No, I mean, it's not any louder than it is like clamping a mask down or anything
Yeah.
like that.
I've never had one made them before. But
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
the other thing about our masks, they don't have push pins either, so they don't have that pop at the top. So it doesn't have anything. So I like to take the two ponytails off the top. So familiar. Where are you from?
I'm from Chicago.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe. It's a small. But yeah, I do ponytails at the top. That way, I don't like to do hair underneath the head because it changes every day. So like somebody like your hair, I would go 2 ponytails at the top. But I will say, you know, every time you get burned as a therapist, you never get burned again. I did 2 ponytails at the top one time at the Proton Center, and I put one right in the meningiomes, like right in the middle of the target. So ever since then, I looked at my MRI before I did this. Then that way you could do 1 ponytail off that opposite side.
Yeah.
So you can only get burned once. So yeah, you can see they're doing ready and everything.
Yeah, so the Velcro is really just to free you up so you don't have to stand there for the period of time for it to
It
harden.
looked like you kind of redid the Velcro. Is that just because you wanted to shape it more as you're going, or?
Good point. Yeah, it's very user-friendly again, so you can adjust it. It's not going to harden like that. So if you don't like it, you can just kind of remold it. It's very moldable. I'll throw maybe a used one in here so you can kind of feel what it's like when it's soft. It's very easy to use, and it's again, if you don't like it, you can just kind of readjust it.
You try and get a little bit up at the top.
I like it at the top. Yeah, kind of shaping it like a bowl. I was just saying
Like
here
a Batman.
privately, I think I would have went with a different headrest for him because he's got a longer neck. So I think I would have went with a different one, and I think it would have slopped. His head would have fell into the bowl a little bit better.
I agree.
But the bottom line is, what's nice about this is it will fit into this headrest every time, so it indexes into the headrest that you're making.